Hello everyone and welcome back to the Swift Academy. My name is Sajjad, and in today's video, which is one of the most important part in the SwiftUI bootcamp, we are going to talk about stacks. With the stacks, we can create our views. We can add components inside each stack and create so much robust views based on our UI. We have three types of the stacks: vertical stacks known as VStack, horizontal stack known as HStack, and also we have the ZStack. With these three types of the stacks, we can create so many different views inside our application. Vertical stacks means that you can add components underneath of each other. With the horizontal stack or HStack, you can have each component or each view side by side, and with the ZStack, you can add the components in front of each other in the Z order. So it is so powerful that you can leverage these kind of the stacks inside your application. If you know them fundamentally and you know how you can add these stacks together and combine them inside your views, you can create so much robust and beautiful application with the SwiftUI. Each stack has its own parameters and completions, so you have to learn them from scratch and fundamentally. I'm going to teach you all about them in this video, so be with me and please subscribe to my channel. I will show you how you can learn everything in SwiftUI fundamentally. Now let's talk about the stacks. As I said, it is the most powerful component inside the SwiftUI that actually you can create the customized UIs or views for your application. You learn about these kind of the components like text or other stuff that I teach you up to now, but how we are going to align them inside the view, it is a part of the stacks jobs. We have VStack, HStack, and ZStack. So let me create a new file here. Definitely it will be a SwiftUI file. I'm going to call it as the stacks bootcamp. Hit the enter and wait a second for the canvas and the simulator inside it to be loaded. Okay, let's start with the VStack. As I said, VStack is about when you are trying to put your component underneath of each other. So for example, let me delete this text here. I'm going to write VStack, open the parentheses here. I'm going to type circle with the field of, for example, color dot red, and the frame gonna be, frame gonna be 100 by 100, and the alignment is gonna be center. So yeah, if I copy this circle and paste it maybe 4 times, because all of these circles inside a VStack, they are actually placing on the top of each other. As you can see, we have the 1, 2, 3, and 4 circles here, and all of them on the top of each other. Let me delete one of them to have just 3 and change the name here, change the color, sorry, the green, and then we have the yellow. So we have these kind of the 3 components as the circle, and SwiftUI, because we are using the VStack, shape them or put them inside the view based on the vertical alignment. So how about the horizontal? If I change it to the HStack, it means that align them in the horizontal way. It will be put them side by side in the horizontal shape and the horizontal frame. If you can see, when I'm on the HStack, it shows that the frame of the HStack as a blue line here. It is just the same. So every component that we are using, as I said before, in the frame bootcamp, we have the frame for each component, even if we are not actually type the frame area for them, because by default they has a area to showing them. So we have the HStack and we have 3D circle inside them. How about the ZStack? Okay, let me change it to the ZStack. As you know, the ZStack just about which one should be in front of the other components. It looks like that all of the components, all of these circles now disappeared, and we can just see the last one as the yellow, and the hierarchy is important. So where is the other one? They are underneath of this yellow one. So if I start to changing the width and height here, I'm going to change this to 200 by 200, and the next one is going to be 150 and 150. You can see that how they are actually reacting to the frames here, and how the SwiftUI shape our view based on the ZStack. You see? All of them stacks on the top of each other, the yellow one, the green one, and the red one. So the ZStack actually, the responsibility of that, you can put other components under each other or in front of each other, and this is your job to make sure that the UI that you are creating is under right order. So now let's talk about one other thing and bring them back to the 100 by 100 again, all of them. So this 150 going to be 100 again, or 100 again. So if I click on this VStack to see hold the frame, you can see that there's a little bit of space between all of these circles. So that's coming from the VStack or those stacks, because all of them has its own default alignment and spacing. If I type, for example, VStack here and open the parentheses, you can see that we have two options, alignment and spacing, and one content. If we just open the parenthesis here, it is going to use the content. So I'm going to open the parenthesis in front of our VStack and trying to type a spacing to use the spacing here. I don't need the content here because we already opened the closure here. So now I'm going to put the content, the spacing as 0. Let's see how SwiftUI create our view. If you can see, all of them is going to be on the top of each other without any space, because they are circle. Let me change them to another one called rectangle, another shape inside the SwiftUI. So I'm going to use the rectangle here, so you can have a better understanding how the spacing actually work here. You can see inside this VStack, because I used the 0 as a spacing, now it is 10. It has a 10 pixel space between each object inside the VStack. It is the same if we are using the HStack, and if we change to the horizontal stack like HStack, you have the spacing of the 10 here as well. If I change it to the 0, they are going to squeeze together and don't have any spacing between our objects now. The ZStack doesn't have any spacing because it is going to showing the everything on each other, so you don't have the spacing there. But let me talk about one more thing. If you remember, we had other actually parameter there called alignment. Let me delete that content there. Okay. The difference between HStack and VStack is the how they are going to be aligned, and by default, how SwiftUI are going to align the components or the views underneath of each other. So, for example, for the HStack, we have the alignment called center, top, bottom, first text, baseline, and other things. But for the VStack, we have different, and for the ZStack, we have other ones. So let me, by default, it is going to be center, but now let me put it as the top to show you how it is going to be react to the alignment to the top. But I have to change these views. For example, if I put them 100 by 100, then it is going to be 200 by 200. You can see that by alignment to the top, how they are going to be aligned inside this HStack frame on the top. So for example, if I change it to the bottom, it will be react to that and put all of these views on the bottom, starting from the bottom alignment. If I change it to the VStack, because VStack doesn't have any alignment called bottom, we have the other options for that. Okay, for the VStack, we have center, this is the default, but also we have the leading and trailing here. So if I put the leading, uh, it will be align them to the left side or to the leading side. It is so useful when we are trying to, for example, have not only have the rectangle, we have a bunch of the text and we want to align them on the left side. All of them should be started from one area, and we can use the leading in that case, or we can actually pass the trailing. So it will be aligning them on the right side. Now let's talk about the ZStack and the alignment for the ZStack. So in the ZStack, as I said, we don't have the spacing, so I'm going to remove the spacing there. And also we have another type of the alignment for the ZStack. We have the trailing, leading, bottom, top, center, bottom, leading, bottom, trailing. Let me choose the bottom trailing to show you how it is going to react this rectangular with the bottom trailing. So because we are actually putting the rectangle, the last rectangular, the bigger one, and the ZStack showing it on the top, we have to change the order. So if I put this on the top and make these changes, and let me bring it to the bottom. So now the smaller one on the bottom, so when they are going to be ordered on the top of each other, it will be shaping like that. If I change it to the center, you can see it is the default one. They are putting in front of each other. The center side, if I choose the bottom leading, it will be inside the ZStack to the bottom and leading. And also we have other useful ones, for example, top leading or top trailing, as it is there. So it is so useful when you are trying to create your complex UI. We can use the ZStack, VStack, and HStack and put your components or UIs or views inside it, so you can shape them and you can have a lot of options to create your views. But this is not only the ones that we can use one ZStack or VStack or even an HStack. We can stack them inside each other. Let me bring up a real example, and you can see how we can create our frames with the ZStack, VStack, and HStack very easily. Okay, now let me delete all this code and put just a simple ZStack here. If you remember, the color itself is a component. So I'm going to add the color here, call it the red, for example, or red, yeah, red is okay. So, and you remember that all of them is a component that we can actually add the frame to get to each one. So I'm going to add the frame to the ZStack itself, make it as the 200 by for example 150, and the alignment is going to be center. Doesn't matter, actually we can not use the alignment here, and let's make this width a little bit bigger, so we have a nice ZStack with the color inside it. So now let me put a text here. So we are going to have the text. I'm going to use the Swift Academy, and also we want to put an image there, for example image with the system name. If you remember, we can choose the system name from the system icon that Apple provided. We can open the library by clicking out on this plus on the top. So let me, for example, add the heart field there, and let's me make it as the background or at the foreground color. uh, Call, for example, green. We have a green heart now, but because we are inside the ZStack, it is going to show them on the in top of each other. So we want to show this text and image in the HStack in the horizontal way. So I can just on the top of the text, I can write the HStack and open the parentheses, and underneath of that I can just the image, I can close the parenthesis or closure. As you can see, it will be reacting to that, and now we have the text and the image side by side. What if I want to push everything to the left or to the right side. If you remember, I talked about the frame and the alignment, but inside the HStack and VStack, we can add another thing. If we want to put a space between the text and image here inside the HStack we created, if I click on the HStack here, you can see the frame here. If I want to create a space between the component here, I can just type a spacer and open and close the parenthesis here. You can see that it is going to expand the component inside it to the maximum that it can be handled. But I want to add another frame to that, so I'm going to add a specific frame to the HStack. So the frame here for HStack is going to be 200 and the height is going to be 50, for example, and the alignment is going to be center, and see how it is going to be reacting for that. Okay, as you can see, now we have the spacer inside the HStack, we have two components here, and we have one object here. Okay, let me put this HStack inside the VStack because I want to create other text underneath of it and another shape in front of that. So because we want to show or add a component under this HStack, we have to use the VStack. So maybe we can use the VStack inside our ZStack and put two HStack inside one VStack. It sounds complex, but it is not. Just think about how you are stacking all items uh, inside each other or on off each other. So for example, we have now this HStack here inside another VStack. If I click on the closure, it shows that where the parentheses start and end. If I copy this HStack here and I put underneath of it and create it underneath of the VStack, then look how it is going to create a UI for us. And we can, for example, I'm going to change it to a rectangle now. Rectangle, for example, and with the feel of the color, like for example, white. And I'm going to give it a frame, and the frame gonna be, for example, 50 by 50. The alignment is not important, just put as a center. So as you can see, we have two HStack inside one VStack, and this VStack is inside one ZStack. Look, when I'm clicking on the ZStack, the blue frame here, when I'm clicking on the VStack, this is the blue frame of the whole VStack. When I'm clicking on each HStack, it is going to show me with this blue line that where the stack actually started. So this is the important part when you are trying to create UIs or for your views by using the ZStack, VStack, and HStack. There are a lot of options to do, and you can create all your views just simply by ordering them inside the ZV and Edge stacks. But the important part that you have to know about it, how you are going to frame them, how you are going to use the component wisely with the spacer or with the frame, with the alignment that I even teach you in the frame section, that you can use even the maximum width to align something to the maximum parent size. For example, if I'm trying not to use this frame as the width and height, if I choose the frame as the, for example, just the maximum width, put it as the infinity, let's see how it's going to be react to that. So as you can see, because the parent frame of this HStack is this VStack and the parent frame of this VStack is ZStack, and we already created a frame around them, when we are choosing the frame as the maximum width of the infinity, it will not going out of the parent frame, the original frame ZStack that we specified and define it as the width of the 300. So be aware of those framing and alignment, but it is so powerful. When you are actually creating your own views, I encourage you to create such these views and trying to examine different options by the text, the image, the shapes like circle and rectangle, and trying to create your views to see how it is going to shape the views and be an expert inside that. So this is just a real example of how we can use the ZStack, VStack, and HStack inside each other. I hope you like this video. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that bell icon. I'm going to create another videos related other cool stuffs inside the SwiftUI. Until the next time, see you soon.